Australian Summit. Throw up an emoji or give a shout out in the chat if you were at the finance session. We had well over 100 people there. I will be your MC for the Ventures.world session today, but before we get into it and the big announcement of our 2021 SheEO Ventures, I would love to bring up Michaela Jade, 2020 SheEO Venture founder from InDigital, for the Acknowledgement of Country.
Thank you, Julie. Warami and Bujiri Kumara. My name is Michaela Jade and I'm a Cabral woman from the Darug speaking nation of Sydney. I've been given the honour today of providing the Acknowledgement of Country. Today, and personally, I'm coming from Ngunnawal country in Canberra, but my country is Cabral country up in Sydney. I'd like to acknowledge the many First Nations peoples on whose land we all live, work and play. We call that Nura, that means country for us. Our Nura is sick though, and it is unceded and sick from the removal of the care of our ancestors, which looked after our land, seas, waters and skies for at least 80,000 years. And today, our peoples all across the world, whether we're in Australia or other countries, are fighting to restore the care of our land, language, the care of our country, using our land, language and law that has been practiced for at least 80,000 years by our ancestors. And I would like to humbly acknowledge my own ancestors and the ancestors of other First Nations peoples on whose land you are on today. Thank you for the care of the country. We couldn't be here without their custodianship. I also would like to acknowledge the many wonderful First Nations women and allies who have joined us today, who are such a lovely, warm and generous part of SheEO. I feel very welcomed in the SheEO community because you make it so. So I would like to thank you from one First Nations woman to other women who are here today. I would also like to acknowledge your elders and communities who support you, your grandmothers and grandfathers and mothers and fathers and aunties and uncles and cousins and daughters and sons who support you in your family. I'd also like to remember that First Nations people are not the only people with ancestors and elders and familial support networks. So I'd like to just lean in to reflecting on the support you have from your own families, whether you're First Nations or not. Thank you very much for providing me with the honour of doing this today. Acknowledgement of Country, I'm calling it Cyber Country. We come together through the internet because of living through a pandemic once in a lifetime. So thank you, and really looking forward to the session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. That was such a beautiful SheEO Acknowledgement of Country, and I get to learn from you every single day because I have the privilege of working with you this week. And there's many people in the chat that have been saying the same thing, but fear not, Mick will be back up on stage shortly. So I'm just going to give you a little background on how Ventures.world, how this session will go today. We will have a fireside chat or a yarn with Vicky and Michaela. Vicky Saunders is the founder of SheEO. We will then announce the 5 ventures, which you've all been waiting for. We will have 2 rounds of breakout rooms of deep dives where you can meet 2 of the 5 ventures and engage with them and have a conversation. And then the final 30 minutes will be 2 rounds of breakout rooms to hear from the past ventures, from just some of them. For those of you that are new here, a quick overview of SheEO. We are a global community of radically generous women and non-binary folks working on the world's to-do list. 2 words that you will hear a lot today are activator and venture. Activators activate their buying power, networks, and expertise to create an equitable and sustainable world. Ventures are entrepreneurs who are creating a better world through their businesses and are funded, selected, and supported by activators like you in the community. As activators and ventures, we practice radical generosity and we commit to transforming ourselves and systems. To date, over 7,000 activators around the world have collectively loaned out $7 million to support over 100 SheEO ventures And we're just getting started. Yeah, that's a spirit fingers way worthwhile. Throughout the summit, we invite you to live out loud and share your experiences on social media. Please use the hashtag SheEOAU21 and be sure to tag and follow SheEO. You can see all those links in the chat. Let's use our voices to amplify the stories of women and non-binary people working on the world's to-do list. In Australia, SheEO is community-driven, and the work required to create the success of this model has received invaluable financial support from this year's partners. Thank you, CBA and Telstra, for your support for 3 consecutive years. One final housekeeping note. Our event is being live captioned by Otter AI. If you're hearing impaired, or if you want to go back through and hear something said earlier, we're posting the link to our live transcription right now. All right, now as mentioned before the announcement, there's many people in SheEO who would probably like to hear a little bit more about the who, the why, and the how SheEO works. So I'd like to invite Michaela Jade back up and have a fireside chat or a yarn with SheEO founder, Vicki Saunders. And instead of just telling you what SheEO is all about, you're going to be hearing their dialogue, and you'll get a feel for the community, the impact, the investment, and a safe space that we have grown around the world, and how in Australia, there are some parts that we are leading the way. So with that, I'm going to step off. Over to you two.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Hey, Mick, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. Sorry, just before we go on, I forgot to acknowledge the beautiful artwork that's behind me. It's by Maggie Jean Douglas.
Stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm coming to you today from Treaty 13 in Canada. I can feel all of the generations of grandmothers behind me. My mother passed in the second year of SheEO, and she gave me this unbelievable binder of all the incredible women who came before me. And said that you are here to create conditions for women in this world that your grandmothers weren't able to do. They had so much power, but they weren't living in a time where they could actually share it in a way that the world needed to see. So this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about SheEO, is we're living in a world that's not designed by us or for us. And we are so desperately needed, the leadership, our fresh ideas, our dreams. So I'm super, super thrilled to be here with you today, Mick, to talk a little bit about your experience in this community. Because just for those who don't know anything about me, I have been an entrepreneur my whole life and spent most of my life thinking very, very differently, with a very different vision for the kind of world I wanted to live in than the one I was living in. And as an entrepreneur, trying to put these ideas out into the world that were so different, I was constantly poked at for that doesn't make sense. You can't do it that way. That's not how business is done. You should lead this way. And it took a long time for me to break through and build my confidence to know that, in fact, the way that everyone is teaching us to be is not serving anyone.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it like to be in a place that is a little bit different than some other communities? Tell us a little bit about your SheEO experience.
So my SheEO experience started actually with a big ass whooping from Julie Trell, who had brought SheEO to Australia and was very, very insistent that I become part of the community. So I actually started off as an activator. I spent my last $1,200 that I had in the bank of my business on becoming an activator, because I thought, well, this has got to be worth just putting my last money into, because, what else am I going to do with $1,200? And I felt really like I needed to invest it in other people's businesses, and maybe I would learn a little bit along the way. It was just me at the time in my company in digital. And the second year, Julie again asked me to apply as a venture. And I thought, no way, there's no way I could do that. I didn't feel ready. It was just me. I didn't have a team of people. All I had was a piece of technology and some experience running it in community across Australia. But I was still in its infancy. I was very not confident in what I was doing, and I was still actually working full-time as a park ranger. So I did apply. I wasn't selected the first time, and then I applied again the next year and was selected as a venture, and was really grateful to be in a community of women who were all going through a similar journey to me. And for the first time, I kind of sat back and went, oh, I'm not alone, and all the things I'm doing is not wrong. The way I'm feeling about running a business is not wrong, and I get to be in the driver's seat. And I think that the building of my confidence was something I couldn't have done without SheEOAU, because I really needed confidence in what I was doing.
Yeah. I mean, this is really, but do we really, like, when you're in the right environment? You know, like, I think we keep thinking that we need to have confidence because we're living in a world that's like trying to take it out of us all the time. But let's go right into you've got some good stories from your work with MJ. Let's just kind of start there. That you've grown from 1 to 10 people.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about how she's supported that.
So, as I mentioned before, I really didn't know what I was doing, Vicky. I think that's particularly symptomatic of being a public servant as well, because I never had to bring in money, and I didn't know how to build a team of staff that would be there because I invited them to share in a big dream and vision that I'd held for so long. So being able to work with MJ was incredible in like working out, how do I make my first hire? And then when Joe came on board, the first person I hired, we both met with MJ every fortnight and went through, how do you set up a business? How do you recruit people? I like some of the things that we were going through at the start too, like we had a bit of a trauma in our company to start with, and being able to have a mentor who's just so incredible as MJ to help us through all those things and just ground truth how we were thinking about it and give us other things to think about. It was really fantastic to have MJ's support and help us build the team and get back on our feet.
I think one of the things, Mick and I were talking before, and one of the things she said is she wanted to have 5 weeks off over the holidays at Christmas. And like, can I do that? Is that okay? That's what I want to do. And I'm just like, well, of course. I get those texts too from entrepreneurs. I really need a break. Is it okay if I take a vacation? I'm like, you're an entrepreneur. You picked this life. You can do whatever you want. But you know, if you're actually surrounded by some more traditional business advisors are like, you can't, you haven't hit your targets yet. You need to do X. And so this is definitely a place where there's permission to take care of yourself.
Yes, and our team, and something different that we did as well, and talking to MJ, was we put our first goal of the company was to support our team. And she's like, oh, that's different. But she gave us the advice and support around what we'd need to do that. So that's maintained a priority. We have that as a priority in our company, is the team sort of come first. And then being able to have the 5-week leave at Christmas, we talked through that with MJ, and we gift this to our team every year now because it was so successful, and just allowing everyone to have that 5 weeks where, like, I knew, because the people we were working with were so driven and motivated and believed in what we were doing, that they actually wouldn't shut off if we didn't shut the company. So we decided to shut the company.
We have a lot of that experience as well. I mean, it's really is like a forced break because this work never ends, right?
That's
for most
right.
of us. So one other thing, and I know we don't have a lot of time here, but there's a couple more things I want to get to. One is I can't imagine what it feels like as an entrepreneur to, like, you have an idea, you have a vision, it feels really sensible to you, and this is something that really makes sense. And then you go out in the world and you get lots of feedback that maybe that's kind of crazy, or what are you doing? And at SheEOAU, the first entry point in is like dozens and dozens of women vote for you and validate you and say, this is incredible, how can I help? What does that feel like?
It feels overwhelming at first, and I think I'm not alone in that feeling where you've knocked on the doors till your knuckles have bled and not gotten much traction, and then to have hundreds of women turn around and say, actually, this has got legs, and we're investing in you, and we're helping you as well. Like, the investment is great, but the help is worth like 10 times the financial support that SheEOAU provides ventures. Like, we couldn't, I mean, I always say it's not kind of help you can buy. Like,
it's very true. Yeah.
and just having such an easy way to network with other women who can support you, and also who you can support. And I think that's something that I'm really excited now, having run the gauntlet and waded through the middle molasses of trying to set something up. I'm really excited to be able to share our experience with other people now. And it might not be valid, or it might, but if we can help a little, then or a lot, we'd love to do that.
That's so great. Okay, so last thing I want to go to, and this is a really hard thing that we work on all the time, which is asking for help. And lots of us, are like, oh, she's too busy. I know she said she wanted to help, but I don't know if she really meant it. Can you talk a little bit about building your ask muscle? And was that hard?
I heard about building the ask muscle. I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to find this really terrifying. The first time that I asked people through the network, I was like knocked over with support, and then the next time I got a little bit more courage to keep on asking. And now it's like anything that I go to, or any meeting that I'm going to, I'm flexing that ask muscle, because what I realized was, if I was sitting with all this trauma around my business and what I wanted to do, and not being able to take the next step in my head, then I was actually not benefiting the thousands of First Nations kids around the world that we want to work with. So having that confidence to ask and then see the response from the SheEOAU community was phenomenal. And that really gave me the confidence to be able to step forward and ask, and stop dealing with all the stuff that was going on in my head. Like, I was having really poor sleep and mental health challenges, because I couldn't work out how to do things because I hadn't done them before. And I know asking for help seems so obvious, but it's something I don't know if it was my upbringing or like the community I grew up with, but I felt like shame to ask for help. Whereas this community has really turned that around for me. So I feel really grateful for having that skill now.
Oh, thank you. There's a lot of deconditioning here. And so for those who don't know this, we do this regular process of asking for support from one another and giving what we can. And it is an unwinding of the scarcity, isolation, have to do it all by yourself, taking us to this place where it really feeds our soul to help one another. This is the whole point of the human condition. In 30 seconds, because this is the last thing, and I just saw there's a question in here. How developed was your business when it applied to be included? And this just came in from, everything just jumped forward. Catherine has asked this question. How developed was your business when you came in?
Well, so it was really developed in my head. Actually, now I look back, I'm like, oh God, no, we were very underdeveloped in all the key areas, like HR, no idea about that. No idea about raising funds or capital or support. It was myself and Joe had just joined as we went to the SheEOAU Summit. So there was two of us trying to work out how we work together. I mean, I didn't even have a job description for her. I'm like, please just come and work with me. I don't know what you're going to do, but it'll be great. And then, so very underdeveloped, I'd have to say.
Okay, great. But I do like your answer, because I feel the same way. I have a very developed concept. It's just not written down anywhere.
Yes.
I've got it. Well, thank you very much, Mick. It was wonderful talking to you. And just a huge shout out to Julie Terrell and Moira and the whole team that pulled all this together. Everything has been co-created locally in Australia. This is just a really big shift from how we started at SheEOAU. And so we're so grateful for the whole Australian community. You amplify each other's voices in such an incredible way. And so thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting women's voices out in the world. And drum roll for what's next.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. We could listen to the two of you forever, but today it's about the ventures. But if you do want to engage in more conversations like that, consider activating and joining our weekly calls. We can throw that link in the chat. Thanks. So now, before I do we announce the 5 selected ventures, I want to give a huge shout out to all 80+ applicants and the 19 who were selected as semifinalists. You'll see them on your screen now. All of them very impressive founders who are working on the world's to-do list, also known as the Sustainable Development Goals. All applicants received feedback and connections from the dozens of activators who went through the selection process. How about that? So everybody wins. As semifinalists, these guys will continue to be highlighted and supported by the network, and several of them agreed to be speakers today and volunteers before they knew that they were selected. All of these semifinalists will have access to the SheEO community for the coming year. Now, a little bit about the cohort. All 5 ventures happen to be activators. It's not a requirement to be an activator, but we are thrilled that they happen to be so. 60% of this cohort is led by Indigenous or women of color. Big change from our first year. They come across 3 states and from 5 very different sectors. So I'm going to announce the ventures one at a time. Please give a warm welcome each time they come up to the 2021 founders selected by our activators. First up, joining me on stage, we're going to just put out the names here, is Sharon Windsor of Indigi-Earth. Proudly 100 Aboriginal owned, award-winning innovators of Australian native products, bringing 60,000 years of authentic culture into homes and across the world. Woohoo! I see a lot of woohoos, squeals. Fantastic. Next up, we have Minka Park of Kimchi Club, and I know she's got a fan club down in Adelaide right now. A group of migrant women making healthy and delicious Korean food for Australians, working to be a favorite food brand and provide good work for more women. Thank you, Minka. And third, we have Amy Bateman and Sean Murray of Pleasant State. Pleasant State is helping forward-thinking Australians reduce toxic chemicals and plastics in their homes with revolutionary Just Add Water cleaning products. We got some crying, we got some tears, we got cheering. For our 4th venture founder, we have Trenna Probert of Super Fierce, who is closing the gender retirement gap, saving women $100,000 in super fees on average, and donating $100 each time to help vulnerable women through GoGo's programs. And GoGo is our venture from our first cohort, so everybody's playing together. And lucky last that I announced, Leanne Sanders of Visual Dreaming. Visual Dreaming is a digital health and wellness platform drawing on First Nation practices to holistic well-being and connection to country. If everyone wants to come off mute and you can hear audible cheers, go ahead and do that because wellness. And that's how we do a live virtual cheers. That's fantastic. I can feel that energy.
That sort of
So
thing.
now what's going to happen is we'll hear from each founder who will give a 2-minute explanation of who they are and what they do. Following that, we have breakout rooms where you can join the deep dives with the founders. There will be 2 rounds, so you can meet with 2 ventures. I know there's a little bit of a FOMO here, but again, come and join the SheEO network and you'll be able to continue to connect with them. First up, Sharon Windsor, Indigi-Earth, your 2 minutes starting.
Yama, thank you everybody. Please excuse the tears. I'm not going to be able to control this. Yamagata meingu, toni kanarapa. Hello, I'm Sharon. I'm the founder and CEO of Indigi-Earth. This year I celebrate my 25 years in business. I started out producing Australian native foods a very long time ago called bush tucker. Bush tucker is food that my ancestors have sustained and lived on for more than 80,000 years. Foods that have been here, growing in the wild, supporting our communities, our people, and each other. Bush tucker, I established a retail line 10 years ago. We produce a quality range of Australian native foods, beverages, skincare, home fragrances. I've also opened a cafe and a high-end dining experience in Mudgee in the last 12 months. In that short period of time, we've been listed in the top 100 places to dine in Australia by Good Food. We're bringing people together to share and learn about bush foods and our culture through bush foods. Our products are currently ranged in 140 retail stores across the country. We are growing rapidly. The bush food industry is worth about $80 million a year, and only 1% of that ownership is Aboriginal. Traditionally, bush tucker is women's business, so less than that 1% is Aboriginal women owned. I am one of only a few Aboriginal owned and operated business in Australia who are producing a retail line across the country. We are rapidly growing and moving into supermarkets within the next year. By Easter, we'll be ranged in some high-end Woolworths stores in Sydney. In 6 months, we'll be launching into Singapore, and we'll be taking our dining experiences into Singapore as well. I'm at a very critical stage of my business within growth, being able to meet demand, upscaling and developing our products and meeting demand, moving either into contract manufacturing or to our own manufacturing facility. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so, so much. These things never happened to me. I'm very, very grateful. Congratulations to all the other winners, and I'm very, very proud to be here. You're not the cool.
Thank you, Sharon. You've got so much cheers happening in the Slack, in the chat channel. Tears are medicine. We got you. And I am so glad that I got to meet you in person and experience your food at Indigenous Cafe in Mudgee. And next up, we have Minka Park, who is going to share her 2 minutes about Kimchi Club.
Wow, what a day. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Minka Park, the founder of Kimchi Club in Ghana Land, South Australia. I started Kimchi Club to share my food culture with Australians because I met a group of South Korean women who are isolated and lonely here. We provide a decent wage and safe, friendly workplace as we produce our cultural food for Australians. Korean culture is getting more popular with the K-drama and K-pop conquering the world. Korean cars and electronic brands are also having huge market share. While Korean restaurants are growing in popularity, there is no recognized Korean food brand in supermarkets. Kimchi Club is an established brand with an opportunity to the #1 Korean food brand in stores. This is a great chance to help change people's eating habits to more plant-based, nutritious, organic, probiotic, and prebiotic food that people can easily prepare and enjoy at home. This is our first focus for SDG 2.1, access to nutritious food. To achieve this, Kimchi Club needs to scale, and this requires significant capital investments in foods, manufacturing equipment. When we scale, we'll be able to provide many more hours of decent work to more people, more women, supporting our goals of SDG 8.5, decent work for women. Thank you, SheEOAU community. With your support, a migrant women-led food business is bringing healthy food culture to dining tables, improving diets, and supporting decent work for women. We have a big ask, of course. We need the money as a tool to transform our venture to scale and manufacturing process. And also our ranges are now available in WA, Perth. Please ask your local store to stock our products and buy from there. If stocks doesn't sell in 13 weeks, products will not be, it's not moving. So the store is gonna remove it from the shelves. I'm also looking for mentors who are specialized in food products and logistics, and also experience in scaling up and transitions in food industry. And also we are still looking for expanding to the East Coast. If you know any like-minded food distributors, please tell them about Kimchi Club, why we do it, how we do it, and share our stories with your loved ones and colleagues, and follow us on our socials. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minka. Way to go with the ask up front. Fantastic. If you want to hear from Minka, consider joining one of her rooms for one of the rounds. And I will agree, it is good. I had a chance to taste it the last time I was in Adelaide. Next up, we have Amy Bateman, founder of Pleasant State, for her 2 minutes.
Hello from Gubby Gubby Land. Normally I have my sidekick, Sean. She'd be telling me to be quite casual now. So I'll give that a crack, Sean. So it's so easy to say what's a bit of plastic here and there, but where is that water bottle that you bought last month at the petrol station? And how about that toothbrush that you used when you were 5 years old? Every piece of plastic that you've ever used is still in existence today. It's out there, it's floating around, it's buried underground, or even better, you ate it in last night's dinner. Yum. Australians are becoming increasingly concerned about the health of our planet, and it's not just plastics. We're starting to question the chemicals that are in our everyday products and the impacts that they're having on our own health and our planet. It might surprise you to know that these beautiful products are made up of 97% water, and the 3% active ingredients typically have things that cause cancers, allergies, and sensitizers. I know I suffered headaches for 2 years myself as a result. So Sean and I created Pleasant State, Australia's very first just add water cleaning bars, which when dissolved make a multi-purpose, a bathroom and a glass cleaner. We help forward-thinking Australians reduce their use of toxins and plastics in their homes. You simply fill your ridiculously good-looking bottle with water, drop in a concentrated bar, watch it dissolve, and then get cleaning. We're not just an incredible product though. We're on a mission to prove that doing good is good for business. We're a female-owned Aussie startup that's looking to change the game by balancing people, planet, and profits. Since launching our crowdfunding campaign in August last year, we've exceeded $340,000 in revenue, and we're currently 104% up on last month's sales. But more importantly, we've helped over 11,000 Australians make the switch to better for you cleaning products. We've donated $7,000 to our charity partner, Take 3 for the Sea, and we've collectively stopped over 35,000 plastic bottles from ever being made. So that we can make waves, not just ripples, when it comes to social and environmental impacts, we definitely need the SheEOAU community support. So the first thing you can do is definitely do yourself a favor, your home a favor, the planet a favor, and buy our amazing products. We've got a sweet, sweet Christmas deal on at the moment at pleasantstate.com. But second, we definitely need support in developing a funding strategy that is not traditional and will allow us to continue to be focused on our purpose-led values. So go on, drop into the revolution.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. And now I know what's on my shopping list for Christmas. Fantastic. Next up, Trenna, founder of Super Fierce. 2 minutes.
Whoops. Sorry, am I unmuted?
Nope, you're beautiful. Keep going.
Oh, good. Beautiful and unmuted. That's wonderful. Thank you. So, yeah, adding my thanks to everybody. Just such a privilege, and spent the weekend with the SheEOAU team and the other finalists, just being completely overwhelmed. And I'm astonished there aren't more tears, because there were plenty on the weekend from us all. So on to Super Fierce. Australian women on average earn $2 million less than men and retire with 47% less in super. And despite 60% of small businesses being established by women, we only secure 15% of the loans and a measly 2% of venture funding. The result? A $30 trillion global gender wealth gap. Now, you're all aware of the gender pay gap, of course, but it only makes up for around 30% of that gap. The rest is due to financial and social inequalities. It's not good. We all know that. That's why we're here. But we can change this. You can change this. And it starts with getting women confident about money. We believe in education, but alone it isn't enough. We also need appropriate advice, support, and female-first financial products. Now, bit of bad news there, little bit of hope. Now, close your eyes and imagine a money makeover that lasts a lifetime and feels as good as a trip to Mecca Cosmetica. Wouldn't that be nice? Well, that's Super Fierce. We're making it easy for women to take simple steps to get financially fit for life. We started super, even though it's boring, because it's ubiquitous. There are 8 million women with money in super in Australia. It's the second largest financial asset for most Australians, and it's the fastest way that we can start to close that $30 trillion global gender wealth gap. We've already saved our customers over $20 million in unnecessary fees and donated $8,500 to help women in need, but we're just getting started. Ultimately, you will be able to manage every aspect of your financial life in one beautiful digital platform, customized to your personal needs and dreams. Imagine that, a digital financial coach in your pocket, making it easy to build, grow, and protect wealth on your terms. Appropriate, affordable advice, accessible for every single woman. That's how we get the money flowing in the right direction. That's how we empower women, and that's how we change the world together. That's super fierce.
Amazing. And if I could just add, I remember Trina standing up at our first summit when we were live in person when it was just an idea. So congratulations. It's great to see you live with this product and as a finalist this year.
Thank you,
Finally, Leanne Sanders, founder of Visual Dreaming.
Oh. I'll try not to cry. I'd just like to begin by acknowledging that I'm on Wiradjuri country and pay my respects to the Wiradjuri elders here, past, present, and emerging, and just really acknowledge that the community here and the elders here have shaped and been a big part on the journey that I'm on. Today is actually my mentor. That was my first dream team that supported and guided me to look at the world in a different way. It's his birthday today, and he's unfortunately in the dream time, but so happens he's here today with me. We are creating a mobile app, which is for our First Nation youth to visually see the possibilities and set goals, and then have trusted networks to support them on their journey of healing. We know that if we can support them through culture and community, then we can change the future of our kids, because they have so many layers of trauma. Not one service can do it alone. When I think about my goal with Visual Dreaming and the SheEOAU community, you have just amplified my dream team. And it is exactly what I want to do for these young kids with trauma. And so I'm just really overwhelmed and grateful. And our ask is just to build on our dream team, and need some support around understanding our financials, because I struggle with that because I'm so passionate about what I do. I don't know how to turn that into dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. And I've loved you from the minute I met you, and you've gotten so engaged into this SheEOAU community as an activator, now as a venture. So congratulations. So the venture spent the weekend in a virtual retreat, and we're going to put them in breakout rooms where you can hear more of their stories, ask questions, and they will be paired with a past venture founder. The ventures will give a 10-minute presentation, share and ask what they most help with. Some of them already have done this. And we will be sharing a Mentimeter poll, a link where you can share your support, connections, and feedback. This is very similar to how the application went. So make sure that you see that link, and we'll share all of the responses with the venture. And we'll have a note taker in the background, taking some fantastic notes and listening to these great comments and quotes that are happening right now. So with that, let me see. So in a moment, you're going to see a tab at the bottom that's going to show breakout rooms. Simply click on the breakout button at the bottom of your screen, and you'll see a list of rooms named by venture. Choose the room that you want to attend by clicking to join on the right of the name. And our lovely behind the scenes volunteers will make sure you get to the room. If you're having trouble, pop the name of the venture you want to see, and then we'll make sure that we'll get you there in the background room. At 18 minutes, you'll get a 2-minute warning, and at 20 minutes, we will close the room and bring everyone back to the main room. We'll do some updates, and then we'll send you back for the second round. All right, magicians behind the scenes, go ahead and open the rooms, and at the bottom, everyone check out where it says breakout rooms. Choose the room that you want to join. Welcome back. Slowly but surely, everyone's coming back in. Let's see how we have 89 people. Are all the rooms closed, Jesse? Before we go on round 2, I would love to hear some feedback. If anyone wants to share how your experience was, and we'll put you on the stage to share a little bit of living out loud, sharing your experience. Let's see if I can do this. Do your hand raise so I can see you. There's a couple of screens. Click the hand raise. Do we have any? I might pick on someone. Deanna, can I pick on you? How is your experience? Because you've been beautifully texting me in and out, so I would love to spotlight you here.
Well, I was just in the middle of making a purchase on Indigeous website, so I think that that tells how the experience was. Well, look, firstly, I just want to say I love SheEOAU, and I come from Warrigal and Gadigal land of the Eora Nation. So hello to everybody. And I found that session really amazing. One, because Mick was moderating, and I find her an incredible inspiration in herself. And then Sharon shared so much about her personal story, as well as her business story. And you know, storytelling is such an important thing that women do, and we do it well. And we buy, you know, everybody buys with their emotions. And I think Sharon's got a great product, and it would be fantastic to see her business go from strength to strength.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we do things a little different here. We like the storytelling, the group virtual hugs and all of that love. And I thank you for sharing and for letting me pick on you. Continue your purchase. And I see Yasmin Sethi had her hand up.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Come on up, Yasmin.
Yeah, I was actually in the same session as Deanna, and it was just an inspiring story from Sharon. She shared herself so beautifully with the rest of us, which is lovely. It was also lovely to hear people coming up with ideas for a business and openly sharing them through the session. Some of the collab suggestions, one was mine, but somebody else as well, across the different ventures is really interesting, because that can obviously build the business even more just from within the SheEOAU family. So that was really interesting to see. And I'd love to hear more about potential collabs that may have happened in the past with other ventures.
Fantastic. We have anyone else want to share from another room, another breakout? We got some more. I know we do. Safe space. You know what? I'm going to call on Sybil if she's around, just because I can trust her to let me lean on her. Oh, wait. Okay. Sybil, you got a free pass. I was just dancing around. Did you want to come up? There we are.
Hello. Yeah, we had amazing session with about kimchi with Minka, and wow, just the dreams that she has about how you know this model could actually work across any cultural environment. So in a multicultural community, it could work with Indian women, it could work across the board. And her big dreams, and I think she said, one of the last things she said was that this is the first step to achieving all of her dreams, and having SheEOAU there to support her was incredible. And the other thing I just thought was wonderful was the idea of, we talked about patient capital before, but this was about patient advice, so patient help. So she doesn't have to reply to everyone who's offering help immediately or support immediately. It's patient. She can get back to us whenever she needs. It was beautiful.
Amazing. All right. Thank you. Thank you for letting me pull you up on stage. And with that, the wizards behind the screen have made new breakout rooms. You've heard some updates from some of the people who have been in the rooms. The breakout rooms are now open. Go and join your second session. And anyone would love to come on up to share your experience? That would be really great. I got to drop into a few rooms. Does anyone put your hand up so we can spotlight you and get you up on stage? Or if any of the ventures want to step up and share how that experience was for you on your end with your strengthening your ask muscle. Come on up. We got Julie Dempsey. Come on in. Come on up. The other Julie, you're on mute.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, Jules.
I was in the room with Trenna, and she did a great job sharing exactly what Super Fierce is all about and coming up with some asks that we could all support her with. So that was really exciting. So if you guys haven't been in the room with Trenna yet, I highly recommend it. And great product and great opportunity.
So thanks for bringing that up, Julie. We only had 2 rounds with these current ventures, but if you still want to get to meet or know that how you can help others, I see your hand, Monica. We'll put all the bit.lys in there, the Mentimeters in there, so you can, if you want to put your name with any of the other ventures, you can do that. Who is my wizard? Can we bring up Monica Bradley? She has got a comment.
I was in the room with the remarkable Sharon Windsor, and I was so privileged to hear her story and to hear the journey that she's on, but the wild ambition that she will transform food in this nation, I have absolutely no doubt, and create wonderful impact on lives. So I wanted to say a big thank you to Sharon and to all the ventures today. You're remarkable, and I'm so proud to be a SheEOA today.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know 20 minutes is not nearly enough time. So I'm waiting for let me just do a little quick wrap up here. You've got the ventures. Jesse put the Mentimeter polls. If you want to connect with some of these ventures, go ahead and click on there and add your name. They'll reach out. Again, this was also part of the application process. So every single one of those 80+ ventures that applied got feedback and connections from people that were reading their application. All right, so for the next session, I know some of you that were in the first session, we did one-on-one networking. We're changing it up a little for this session, and we're going to be opening up the breakout rooms 2 more times to hear from past ventures. There are 4 of them. They will provide an update from them over the past 2 years, some of the past 2 years or longer, past year or longer, and any new asks that they might have. You'll also receive the Mentimeter polls from them as well. So the amazing breakout hosts, these are the people that you're seeing put the stuff in the chats. It's a really important role, and they're doing amazing and taking notes. So the breakout hosts, you'll see the links to these Mentimeters where you can connect with the past ventures. Before we send you off, we're going to put in, we love feedback. So we'd love for you to share your feedback for this session. Feel free to bookmark it and come back later. But we will put it back up there. But if you have to leave, because I know 90 minutes is already a long time. And also, I want to remind you that we have 2 more sessions tomorrow. First up will be the Systems World session with discussion, where we will be discovering new approaches to doing business, addressing system inequities, and transforming economies. It starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. AEDT, that's New South Wales time, and 30 minutes following the panel and breakout rooms. We'll have the breakout rooms one-on-one networking. And then the final session is Mindset World, where we will learn how to shift your thinking, build resilience, and adapt for our changing world. That starts at 2 tomorrow. So with that, you know the drill. You've done this before. There are going to be 4 sessions to hear from 4 past ventures where you can go into their rooms. And we have, Jesse will put them up on your slide, how to get in there. We have Work Restart with Helen. She was last year finalist. World's Biggest Garage Sale from our first cohort, as well as Go-Go Events with Sarah Gunn, and Grow Your Mind with Christina Freeman, also from our first cohort. So choose one of those 4 to go in, see what their experience was like. If you're thinking of being a venture, it's a great way to ask what the process was like, what they got out of it. So have at it. This is going to be 15 minutes, and they've got the stage. Please join with them. And again, if you have a problem that you can't access, let us know, and the magicians behind the screen will zoom you to the right room. You can do 2 of these.